Okay, welcome back to the second part of exponents. The first video gave you an explanation of what exponents are. And a recap is, if you have a base and it's negative and it's raised to a even power, it is always positive as your answer. And if you have a negative base raised to an odd power, that your answer will always be negative. So now I'm going to move on to the second part of what happens when you multiply. Okay. When we think of multiply, I want you to think about when the bases have to be the same, though, and you have exponents, you add them. So when you think of multiplying exponents, same base, you add the exponents. So the first one, x is the base. You add up the exponents, you get x to the fifth. Now, some of us here are visual learners. So another way I like to explain this is if you have that x squared times x to the third means the x squared means I've got two x's. The x to the third power means I've got 3. So now take a look at this. If I add all of your x's up, I get x to the fifth. So either way works out. Let's try another one. Let's say you have m to the fourth times m to, say, the sixth. So the first thing I do is I look at the bases. The bases are the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry the m, which is my base, and I'm going to add the exponents to get m to the 10th. As for our visual people, think about this. You've got 4 m's, and you got 6, which is the same way. 4 plus 6 is 10. We also may see something like you've got a 4 times, say, n to the third power times a negative 2n to the fifth power. First off, I'm going to multiply the 4 times the negative 2, and I get a negative 8. My n's are the same. So then all you have to do is say 3 plus 5. And your end result is negative 8n to the 8th power. So let's do 2x times 3x squared times 4x to the third. So in this case, we take 2 times 3, which is 6, times 4, which is 24. Now my bases, they are x. Now, if you see a base that does not have a number or an exponent, it is understood 1. So now this exponents, when you add them together, would be 1 plus 2 plus 3. The common mistake would just be adding 2 plus 3, but the x right here, that is an understood 1. So it'd be 24x, and then when you add 1 plus 2 plus 3, you get 6. Let's put numbers in here. Notice I have my 2 as my base. I've got my exponents, so I'm going to add those up. Now, most of us are going to be asked to simplify this. And some of us use computer programs to put the answers in. So if you put 2 to the 5th in, it's probably not going to accept it. So what you want to do is you want to do 2 to the 5th power. Now remember, and I want to show us this. This is the same as 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Which, if you put it in your calculator, you should get 32. Let's take a look at this one. You got negative 3 squared times negative 3 to the 3rd power. So when we're looking at a problem like this, the bases are the same. So then what you want to do is you want to put in 2 plus 3 because we're adding the exponents. So now that is negative 3 to the 5th power. Now in our previous lesson, if I'm looking at my negative base, and I'm looking at my odd power, which is 5, I know my answer is going to be negative. So then if you put this, make sure you always put these in parentheses, and you should get negative 243. Okay, let's say you have this problem on number 7. Say you have 2 squared times 3 squared. So we want to know what we need to do for this. Well, I don't know how many times I have seen it this way. We would say 2 times 3, which is 6, because I'm multiplying my bases, raised to the 4th power. I repeat, this is not how you do this. This is a problem since they have different bases. Think about this. This is 2 times 2. This is 3 times 3. So 2 squared is 4. 3 squared is 9. So this actually has an answer, numerical answer, which is 4 times 9, which is 36. So I hope this lesson helps out for multiplying exponents. So be looking out for my 3rd video on exponents that will be covering division of exponents. Thank you very much.